Hi, Jasmine. Thank you for booking with me and thank you for your patience. Excuse my very squeaky chair. If you look back at any of my other videos, you realize that this chair is been my ride or die from the beginning, and as I do more readings, it gets squeakier. So it kind of reminds me of SpongeBob and the squeaky boots. So excuse me if you hear a lot of squeaking. That is not me. That is my chair. So, first of all, thank you so much for being patient with me. I still have I think like five, I want to say like 5 to 6 past life readings. These things knock me out. If you're ever interested in doing past life readings, I greatly suggest you mediate yourself. And just make sure that you don't be like me. So I'm gonna get into a little bit. The way I do past life readings is I get a little bit into the astrology portion, just a tiny bit. I'm not a huge astrology junkie. But I do recommend this book that I have right here. It's called Past Life Astrology by Judy Hall. She mentions a lot about your placements, conjunctions. It's a great start. She has, I think it's like two other books. It's two other books in conjunction with this one that kind of all just get into the past life astrology portion. And in conjunction with like oracles and tarot cards. It's like a really great tool. So when I was looking at your chart, I noticed you have predominantly fire, Leo, and Taurus. So that to me already kind of gives me an idea of who you could have been. Now, Leos, they are not given the credit that they deserve for being, I don't want to call them influencers, but like they do hold a very strong presence when it comes in like past lives. Even if it's just like you were the village witch type thing, like you hold a very strong presence in past lives that kind of give way to your current life situation. Now, everybody always says that Leos are like very like me-centered, which is not the case. Leos are very me-centered in a different manner. They're me-centered in the way that they truly are very knowledgeable about themselves, and that can come off as either egotistical or self-centered to those that are not as centered around themselves. They are very aware of what they need, of what they want, of what they desire in their life, and they're very loyal people. Now, sometimes depending on how self-aware the Leo is, they can have a misplaced loyalty. I'm hoping that's not you, but they can have a misplaced loyalty, or their loyalties could always go to the wrong party, and they can come off as, or their loyalties can kind of, not on the wrong party, but they can kind of like be loyal to, let's say you have two friends and they don't like each other, you can be loyal to both of them, and then you could seem like you're kind of backstabbing or wishy-washy, which isn't the case. Your loyalties just run truly deep, and they are truly honest and creative people. I don't feel like Leos ever get the applause they deserve for being just true creatives. If you have never been around Leos, you realize that they are kind of a little more quiet, on the quiet side. They have like a quiet, not a quiet presence, but a very dominant presence that doesn't require them to speak, if that makes sense. Their presence is everything. I also noticed that you have moon in Taurus. Now, when the moon is in Taurus, Tauranians, they can hold a lot of their emotions in. They are, I call them emotionally constipated, because they just hold on to things for long periods of time. It's an earth sign, and it's a fixed earth sign. It's very similar to any of the fixed moon signs. It can be very difficult for us to move on or to acknowledge the feelings, especially if you are stuck in an air or in an earth placement. I feel like air and earth placements just dig them down in there deep, and air signs, we kind of just intellectualize our emotions without really feeling through them. And I feel like maybe your challenge in itself is you do have a moon in Leo, which is they are super emotional. They're a super emotional sign. They are more ruled by the heart chakra. I feel like Leos represent kind of like rose quartz. They're such loving and open people. And then you have it in Taurus. So I feel like sometimes you could be fighting yourself or kind of like fighting your emotions, because you want to be open to these people, because your sun sign wants to be open to these people, but your moon sign is very like dig yourself in deep type situations. So your challenge is to, I feel like your challenge is very much to mediate this as well. I feel like mediation or just balancing yourself out is going to be a huge maybe a huge lesson within your lifetimes. I feel like maybe you could have been like a priest or maybe a head of church. Even if you're not into church right now, I would say like whatever your past life taught you, you might be horribly against in this lifetime because if you learn those lessons. Or you could be you could have dug yourself deeper into this. Like I always tell people, like, some people have been spiritual from the day their soul incarnated because they knew that there was something better for them or there was something higher. But we'll see when we get there. We'll see when we get there. But I feel like you could have really been some sort of authority or just had a big play in other people's lives, and maybe right now you hold a big significance in the people that you're around. Like you could be maybe kind of like a mentor, maybe somebody that they see that they're a better version of them, and you could very much be that lead or that role in their life. Enough about the chatter astrology. I'm gonna get into the crystals. Now there's one more crystal that I know I have. I don't know if it broke. I don't know if it's just lost in the chaos of my room, but it is called Celestine, and that's the first one that I'm going to talk about. Now Celestine is for angelic communication, so I don't know if you've been trying to reach out to your angels or your guides, but it's a very beautiful big blue stone. If you want to Google it, it's called Celestine, and it helps you kind of get in touch with those energies. I feel like, I don't know how other people channel their messages, but for me personally, Celestine, kyanite, and clear quartz are the three go-tos to meditate when I'm trying to channel any message or trying to really get into the feeling of a reading. Those are my big three. Oh, what? Sorry about that. My phone told me that it is low on battery, and I realized I didn't charge it yesterday. So hopefully I'll make it through this video. So yeah. So Celestine is kind of that crystal for angelic communication, for having more of like a deeper connection with your spirit guides and kind of channeling messages. Now these messages could be for yourself or they could be for anybody around you. I remember I had a client that said that she got a message of her father in a casket. Now, does that mean your dad is going to die? No, it means that he is going to physically be putting something to rest. Now, I always tell people, like, don't be scared if you get some crazy message like this. It just, the meaning behind it is a lot more different. The universe speaks in symbolism. So a casket, think of what a casket means: death, rest. And her father was in it, so he was laying something to rest, not that he was gonna die. I always tell people, like, you will not get messages like that if you're not ready for them. But on to the next crystal. Now I have here, this is blue gray. Well, technically it's called blue cat's eye, but it's blue cat's eye, and blue cat's eye is a crystal for protection, and it's also a crystal for reaccumulating wealth. So I feel like maybe you could have maybe not given away money, but more of so some of your like power. Remember, power in itself is a form of wealth. Maybe in a past lifetime, and maybe this is why you were reincarnated as a Leo, more of a reclaim of power. So I feel like this is either you reaccumulating wealth in your life. Now, wealth comes in many forms. You could be like spiritually wealthy, wealthy among your friends. Like, wealth accumulates in different forms. But this is you reaccumulating that wealth and protecting it. I feel like maybe you could have given your power away to somebody, and now it's kind of telling you, bring that back. Bring that wealth back. Bring that abundance that you had before this person was there, or you had before this event happened. I'm speaking to it as if it's a person. I'm hoping that it's not, because I don't know what's been up in the air lately. Maybe it's November. Maybe it's time to get cozy, but I am not a big on romance girl for the streets. Anyway, back to this. Now this is selenite. Now, selenite is more to get in contact, not in contact, but more to trust your intuition. It's a water crystal. Cat's eye and selenite are two, well, that one's more of like a sacral chakra, but it also kind of like hints into your emotions. And selenite is considered a water crystal, meaning that it is more in tune with your emotions, in tune with the water elements. And I realize that you don't have a lot of water in your chart. It is mostly fire and it is mostly earth, and that's why I chose cat's eye, which is water, Celestine, which is air, and then selenite, which is a water crystal as well. Now, it's for intuition. Also, it's a protection crystal. I feel like maybe the messages for you right now are more towards make sure that you are protecting yourself, protecting your emotions, and protecting anything that you really value right now. I feel like selenite is kind of telling you to get in touch with your emotions. Again, that Tauranian moon can make it very difficult for you to kind of acknowledge and express your emotions. So you kind of end up either digging them down deep or kind of completely rejecting them. So selenite would help you in acknowledging them and kind of feeling them through. I always tell people what works for me, I am an aqua moon, is I write down what I feel, what made me feel that way, and what I can do so that I can kind of release that emotion. It is probably the simplest way. It allows me to intellectualize things and actually feel them through. If I need a good cry, I'll get a good cry. But other than that, it's an easy peasy way to get it done. Now, I'm going to start. I hope that it doesn't die. I pray that it doesn't die. I'm going to start with your past life reading. Now, I have 3 decks here. I'm taking this one out of the box because this was an oldie. This is the past life oracle deck. They don't make this baby anymore. This baby is about, oh man, she's about 3 to 4 years old. Now, if you don't know who Doreen Virtue is, she's just like, she's the spiritualist that sold out. But Brian Weiss is actually a really well-renowned past life regression psychiatrist therapist. He is known for his book Many Lives, Many Masters. It's an amazing book if you're willing to get into like past life readings. I have read all his books. I have gone to his seminars. I adore the man. If you ever get a chance to see him in person, please do so. This man is ancient. This man, I'm pretty sure he's in his 80s. But he came to Fort Lauderdale a couple years ago, and I actually had the pleasure to go see him. And that's kind of where I learned psychometry. I learned it from him. They actually taught him. They taught us at his like his seminar and stuff. But yeah, amazing man. If you have a chance to ever look into his books, I highly recommend. So I have here the past life oracle. I have my tried and my true. Now this is the Deviant Moon. This is the oldest tarot deck I own, and it is the most reliable, I would like to say. It's known me for a good while. And then I have the Psychic Tarot. Sometimes I'll only use tarot to clarify, depending on what I need. And I will stick with these 2. But I always tell people, like, when you get a past life reading, it's kind of like Avatar: The Last Airbender. You have many lifetimes that I may only touch up on 3. I may only touch up on 1, depending on what shuffles out. I realized that the last couple of people that I have been doing past life readings for from the July batch, they've had a lot of past lifetimes. Like, normally I'll get 1 or 2, but I've gotten like 3 or 4. And that's why my readings have been taking so long. Not only is it draining, but it's also like digging into quicksand, because you're kind of like tapping into people's energy and kind of like pulling out what you can. So anyway, enough about that. So I like to tell people this is like Avatar: The Last Airbender. He basically channels certain lifetimes when he has certain issues, because the idea is that you've already gone through these issues, maybe more minimized, maybe more what is it called, more pronounced, more oh man, I can't even remember, my brain is already burnt. But you have already gone through a lot of the issues, and now maybe it's in a different way, you know, maybe it's more pronounced, maybe it's more less pronounced. It just depends on what the lesson, if the lesson was learned, or if you need to repeat the lesson, but just not as harshly, if that makes sense. So I'm just go ahead and ask, and pray to God that my camera does not die. Ooh. Sometimes this deck wants to work with me, and sometimes it doesn't. What past life is currently around Jazmine? Tasty. Go. Okay. What past life is currently around? Woo! Oh, man. Ooh, what did I say? There's 2 on the floor. I want to get them. Oh Lord. Ma'am, what did I say? It's like I'm psychic. Oh my god, no. So I'm sorry, I'm like all up over here. Okay. What did I say? I get super excited, not because I'm right, but because I know this is gonna be like a truly interesting reading. So I have 2 lifetimes here, which I'm thankful for, but because if I get another, like a third or a fourth, I might cry. I have 2 lifetimes here, and I'm going to show you the cards one by one so you can kind of see like where this is heading. But I have Asia, I have vows, I have forgiveness, and actually the dove in itself is kind of already calling me because I looked over here and I have a white feather, so it's already like a sign for me. So I have lessons and blessings, I have knighthood. What did I say about authority figures and Leos? And then I have authority figures. So I'm gonna go through one lifetime first, and I'm gonna go through the Asia lifetime first because I feel like I'm already connecting with that one more, and I'm actually gonna get from the psychic tarot. I'm gonna tell you what I'm getting just by like pictures and symbolisms. I feel like you kind of already knew that you were maybe a male in the past lifetime. I feel like you can either be very gifted in the area of wealth or accumulating wealth or in just managing money. And if you are not, you eventually will learn how to be. I feel like it's a relearning, a reclaiming. What did I say? A reclaiming of power. I feel like maybe in this lifetime, you experienced a lot of famine because I'm getting a vow here. Now, the vow feels like you vowed that you would never let yourself go through a time like this again. And now you could have issues around scarcity or just not greed. I don't want to call it greed, but just you could be very afraid to be under a certain like financial number, or you're always shooting for a financial goal due to the fact that in this lifetime you might have been robbed of that. Now, I feel like the number 4 is going to be very significant for you. 4 being the number of stability, and maybe the number 8 because 8 is the number of wealth. But I can also pinpoint from this the number 7. So 4, 7, and 8. Remember those numbers. Let me see. What can you tell me about this? Let me see what I got here. I'm not surprised that I feel like maybe you might have an attachment to the Asian culture, or like you are very like interested in it, but here it says spiritual strength. I feel like this man was very intelligent on, when you see spiritual strength, you see the jade Buddha in the back. Now jade being even the color green, jade being the color for wealth and for like notoriety. I feel like this man in his lifetime was very well noted. I feel like this man, remember what I said about you maybe being like a pillar or like a center focus among your friends, not only because you're a Leo. I feel like this man brought wealth into his town in some form of way. I feel like he went through a really tough, I feel like a long period of isolation here. Oh, and that's where truth comes in. I feel like a very long period of isolation for this man. This man is very short, around the rounder side. He has maybe like, I don't know if it's arthritis, but his hands, like, I don't know if your hands now, if you suffer from like any arthritis or anything relating to your hands, but his hands are very like kind of like worn, even swollen in some sense from working. He used to be a field worker. I don't know if he's like, I say Asia, but he feels more like Vietnamese. If he's a field worker, but he feels like he used to work among like either cane or rice. But I do see that his hands are very, very swollen. So if you have dreams of being an older man with very swollen hands, or just issues or surrounding like your joints and stuff, this is from this lifetime. I feel like this man, very early on, he was very young when he started working. His family feels very, like, I'm getting a grandma figure. I don't know if you were close to your grandma, but, ooh, ma'am. Interesting. I'll get into this one later. But I don't know if you're very, close to your grandma, but I feel like the grandma was his mom. Your grandma was your mom in this lifetime. And she feels like a very homey, woman. You have a lot of major arcanas right here. She feels like a very, like, home, like a very, like, I don't know, like a very safe space for this person in this lifetime. And it feels like they just come from a family of, like, very hardworking people. And he kind of got, yes, here it is. And he kind of got tired of living that, like, hardship life. I feel like in a sense he kind of resented it. And it feels like he eventually not moved out of the country, but he left to travel maybe more towards the inland of, maybe more towards, like, the main areas of Vietnam or Asia, to kind of give himself more knowledge. That's where the wisdom card comes in. I feel like he traveled from one area to another to gain more knowledge, but in a sense it feels like he traveled to gain more knowledge, but I'm trying to find the words for it, and Tarot might be able to clarify that. Yeah. So in a sense, he kind of abandoned some of his own needs. Like, I get the High Priestess. I feel like this was more like, this ain't a fun lifetime, but it feels like he abandoned some of his own needs and some of his own pursuits and stuff, but it was more towards for higher good purposes. I feel like now you should not be abandoning any of your needs. I feel like you're kind of, maybe your purpose right now is to combine the spiritual and the material. I feel like that's why you're getting spiritual strength. This man was a holy man. And I don't mean holy like in, like, devoted to Jesus, but he was very devoted to his spirituality. And he had to put that away for some time. I don't feel like he completely forgot about it. I feel like he put it away for some time just so he could focus on the material aspects. I feel like in some sort of way, him moving and kind of gaining more knowledge bring him hope that he would kind of be in a better place or be able to provide something more for his family. I don't know if you're huge on providing or being provided for, but the providing aspect is very much here. I feel like maybe sometimes you could be prideful in the areas of material, like maybe money, or maybe kind of just, you want to share what you have, but you don't want people to, you don't want people to feel like what you're giving them is because you feel sorry for them. It's more because you're in a place to give them, and then when you are not in that place, you kind of retreat, and people are like, hey, like, I feel like your giving can sometimes come off as a disadvantage to you. Like, people will see it as either you trying to kind of not baby them, but trying to, like, say like, oh, I have more than you, which is not the case at all. And that's where the third chakra comes in. So I feel like in this lifetime you had to speak up. I feel like you do make a very decent living here as a merchant. You kind of learn these skill sets from moving into a more, it feels like you move into a more populated area, because I'm getting a lot of like long merchant stands, but it's surrounded by water. So not surrounded by water, but there's like lakes and rivers nearby. So I don't know if this is like more like a fishing thing, but I do see this place like a big marketplace, and maybe you've dreamt of it. I feel like you've dreamt of being in a long, maybe like a long marketplace, but it feels like you were taken under by somebody. Who is this person? Sorry, I asked. I'm like, who is this person? Like, it's so weird. Yeah, I feel like whoever you were mentored by is going to be, there's a lot of ones here. So your life might be going into a new phase, into a new beginning. You got the Justice card twice. So I'm getting that maybe more truths are going to be revealed about what path you're taking ahead. But you got passion, you got prosperity, and you got love begins. So I feel like whoever mentored you in this lifetime will eventually be the person that you end up with. Now, past life relationships work very different. This person was your mentor in a past life. But in this lifetime, you might be inclined to be with them. I feel like this person was very, where's my tarot deck? Oh, I feel like this person was very, they're giving me very Emperor energy, because of how they feel. They feel more mature, wiser. They feel like a stabilizing force. I feel like they could have an air moon. I want to kind of know like what their placements are like, or if you're with somebody, they could have an air moon or just be a Capricorn. I feel like a Capricorn would be an amazing fit for you with an air moon. But I kind of want to know what card this person embodies. Ah, they embody the star. It's so funny. So the star could be an Aquarius, or they could just be, I feel like they could just be somebody that you feel like your wishes are being granted. But again, I'm teetering between Capricorn and Aquarius, so it might be one of those two signs. Now, Aquarius is the polar opposite of a Leo, so opposites attract. I feel like this person mentored you a lot, and you're very thankful for them. But at the same time, I feel like they did not want to, because the two cards that I had set aside, I feel like they did not want to, you appreciated them, and obviously this was not a romantic relationship back then, but you appreciated them and you wanted them to kind of move to the village with you, and they felt like their place was more towards, you know, the higher city, and just they felt like their work was more valued there, and you kind of resented them for that. So I guess that's why the forgiveness card is here. You eventually obviously do let things be, bygones be bygones, but in a sense you kind of you wanted them to be there with you. And I feel like even though they didn't get that chance in this lifetime, they will get the chance in the current lifetime. And I feel like you will know who they are right off the bat. This was not intended to be a love reading. I actually hate past life love readings, but it feels like the passion's going to be there from the jump. Like, I feel like things are like more towards this end of the year. I'm getting like December, January. Things are just going to be like one after the other for you, like falling into place, because here I see like the seeds that are being planted and then the fruit. But I feel like at first the fruit is going to be very small, and your second harvest, the fruit is going to be a lot bigger. Don't rush into things. I feel like when I tell people certain placements, they'll be like, this is the one. Like, no, don't rush into things. Keep balance. The freaking where'd he go? Balance. Justice. I feel like you have everything going for you right now, or you will very soon. But again, that balance, that mediation, not taking things into excess, I feel like that's going to be a really, really important lesson for you. I want to see what type of lessons kind of came from this lifetime, besides obviously forgiveness and balance. This man goes to live a long life, and his little village does gain a lot of more prosperity. I feel like he bring in some sort of trade. So you might be really good at, overindulgence. I feel like he was also like a drinker. Like, I don't know if you're a drinker now, but I do see him like drinking a lot. I feel like this was kind of his coping mechanism, but again, remember that Taurus moon. I feel like you're not open to receiving maybe not love messages, but like maybe more like emotional messages. You can come off a little bit withdrawn when it comes to like opening up to your emotions. It's maybe not falling into temptation so easily. Not that he fell into temptation easily, but this man kind of didn't know how to mediate himself. Oh, and the Hermit. So your lessons revolve around recognizing the self. That's why you're a Leo. What did I say? Recognizing the self, kind of being more centered. Know when you're drifting, and by drifting I mean like kind of deviating away from who you are. Remember what I said, Leos are very about the self. They know themselves. So kind of recognizing when you're drifting from yourself, because obviously you're trying to cope with your emotions in like in an unhealthy pattern or an unhealthy way, and then kind of bringing you back to yourself. I don't know if other readers read like I do, but everything for me feels like a full circle moment. I read tarot from what is it, from left to right, full circle. So I feel like the lessons really do kind of center around you making sure that you you kind of always give yourself that place to go back into yourself. It's knowing that your emotions are not going to be taking a hold of you, and knowing when they are, so that you don't fall into similar patterns. So again, it's like one full circle moment. Don't fall into the patterns. Recognize your emotions. Go back into the self. Go back into the self so you don't fall into the patterns, to recognize your emotions. You see? I hope people don't think I'm crazy. I think I'm crazy sometimes. But anyway, I want to see that other lifetime. I'm already 31 minutes in. My phone hasn't died, bless the Lord. But I want to see this other lifetime that I'm getting over here. Like, this one I might run through it really quick, because I'm already at 31 minutes, and I don't know who wants to hear me talk for 2 hours. Where'd it go? I lost a lifetime. Oh, never mind. So lessons and blessings, knighthood, and authority figures. So this feels like a very tough man, like mentally and emotionally. I feel like that Leo's strength comes from not only that lifetime, but this lifetime. Like this, again, you're a man in this lifetime. Leos tend to have that more dominant energy, even if they are women. They always have that very strong, speaking early, they always have that strong dominant energy. Ooh, deception and envy, and victory and success. What did I say about the number 7 coming up? I feel like the number 7 in itself is not only for spiritual wisdom, but also the 7 of swords, and deception and envy kind of gives me that 7 of swords energy. Now, I don't feel like this is somebody deceiving you. I feel like this is more self-deception. I feel like sometimes you can I feel like maybe sometimes you can hinder your blessings by kind of being self-deceiving and kind of getting stuck in your head. That is so funny. I feel like you can be stuck between 2 decisions and decide to make none of them, or you can just not be over emotional, but undervalue your emotions when it comes to the decisions that you make. Like, you should be proud of yourself obviously when you make good decisions, but don't knock yourself down when you make a decision that is less than what you expected, if that makes sense. I feel like this person in himself, he lost a lot of I feel like this was a humbling lifetime, because I feel like he lost a lot of notoriety. I feel like he was like, not, I don't want to call him a politician, because now, like, in our current lifetime, we have like a very like weird feeling for politicians. I know I do, but he was kind of up there. Like, he gives me like justice. He gives me justice. He gives me like, he gives me this vibe of like the Hierophant, which is like maybe like not Pope, because I don't see Pope, but like this guy was up there, but I don't even exactly know what type of title he has. And this lifetime feels like it's like in England, so he gives me very like regal. Oh, that's what he has, nobility. He's part of nobility. I feel like this is due to his family having some sort of like lineage towards, like, they have some sort of like lineage towards I don't want to call it the round table, but very much like the round table knights type thing. They have some sort of lineage in them, so they're kind of like part of the nobility. And he loses that in this lifetime. So again, the lessons your lessons are very much revolving around like finances and wealth and spirituality. He loses that. I feel like it's due to addiction. But he loses that, and then he eventually gets to a place of more like spiritual wealth, and he starts rebuilding himself. I feel like it's very much, see, like lessons and blessings. I feel like these two lifetimes kind of correlate within each other, because he was a very much up there man, but he had to humble himself and kind of rebuild himself back up. This is very, like, he feels very short, like lighter hair color. His hair is not like, it's not blonde, but it's like a darkish, almost like an auburn brown, and he has brown eyes, very short, kind of has like a dimple on his right cheek. I don't know if you have a dimple in your right cheek right now, but he does have that. And it feels like a lot of his money was spent on like his addictions and his like drinking and stuff like that. I don't know if now you kind of want to work with people with addictions, but a lot of his money was spent that way, and he does find himself dirt poor at some point in this lifetime. So if you have dreams, I feel like maybe that's why like I keep calling like the sacral, but maybe right now that's why you may have dreams of either being one of these two men. It's kind of like the fear of scarcity again that I mentioned earlier in the video. It's kind of like all coming into like a replay, or like a singular turnaround. So I want to see what type of lessons this person like went through. Ooh, okay. I feel like choices, like this is a card when it's upright, you're not making any choices, but this one reversed, I feel like you have to make choices. Oh man, it's like I'm being punked. Choices, trusting your intuition. Here is justice again. Here's the devil again. And here's the Page of Cups again. I feel like, what did I say? Each lifetime kind of correlates within itself. And I feel like the lessons are very much similar, but I feel like this one is more centered around the choices that he could have made and the choices that he made after and how they impacted him. I feel like eventually this man is not so much into spirituality as the other one, but he kind of looks for a higher power in maybe the church or in his community, because of how low he felt. And I feel like maybe now you're not going to fall as low in your life, but your lessons will still kind of revolve around these two the same. Now, I kind of want to get into some like oracle cards. I always give people like a little something after, because sometimes these lifetimes are depressing. They're not fun. Like this one had a lot more addiction than the last lifetime. But if you're especially attracted to like London, I feel like that's where like he was. I get like Borghese nobility vibe. And I feel like this is kind of like around the time that, I don't know if you know what Les Miserables is. It kind of gives me that feeling and that vibe. But anyway, I want to see. Oh, man. They are not playing with you. I got New Beginnings. And then I got Solitude. So New Beginnings is kind of giving me all those number ones that I got. And Solitude is giving me the Hermit. Like the very, very much the Hermit. Hermit energy. I want to see if I can pull another one. I feel like maybe you're probably in a time of like, maybe more like internal searching. Oh man, holy schmoly. What? Where are those cards? I'm looking for those cards so you can see them, so you can see that I'm not crazy. But, did I like put them away? Oh no, they're here. All those ones. So, hope gives me new beginnings vibes. Love begins, and I got love over here. And then I have passion ignited. But solitude gives me the hermit vibe. So, listen, I feel like you're stepping into a new chapter of your life. And part of that chapter, part of maybe the ongoing chapter right now, is kind of you doing some internal digging and some internal work. Is where do you lose yourself when you give too much? Where, like, who are you when you kind of like put your emotions aside? Do you run towards addiction? Now, addiction does not mean alcohol. It can mean distracting yourself through I personally, my addiction is watching anime. If I'm having like a hard time, I will go into what is comfortable for me. So I'll either watch anime, spend hours at the gym, spend hours at work, overwork myself, because that is a place where I go to when I need to feel comforted. I go into kind of like the same habits and the same routine, and that in itself is an addiction. So I feel like right now you need that point, like that solitude in yourself, to see like where are your addictions and where do you go to when things aren't going right. I feel like once you kind of acknowledge that, you're gonna have, sorry, this card's supposed to be this way, you're gonna have a new beginning, and even give the chance for kind of like love to bloom for you. I got love begins twice, so that in itself is already telling me that even if it's not a romantic relationship with somebody, even if it's more loving yourself and then getting into this, I feel like this is going to be like the steps for you. It's going to be learning how to kind of know when to give your loyalties to people. When people have given you 100%, and then you can give them 100%. It's like that equal, that balance, that justice that you need. I feel like that's why this card is kind of telling me, hey, put me in the middle. Like, there's certain places that you need to get to before you get here. This might be the middle card, but like I said, I go full circle. So I feel like just giving yourself that solitude, recognizing your habits, recognizing your emotional habits, and kind of just setting yourself up for better in the long run. Even like I said, 2 months from now seems like a very relevant time for you. Maybe that's where you're supposed to be heading, and maybe that's why you're receiving this reading right now. 2 months is going to be a very how do I put it? I don't know how to put it. A very significant time for you. There we go. Sometimes I lose my words. Now, honey, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me through Twitter, through email. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope this reading came to you at a time that you needed it. And I hope to hear from you soon. Goodbye.